Hello, and welcome to another episode of County Perspective, the show that focuses on Frederick County government, local programs and events, in the community that you live in. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa, and thank you for joining us. Let's begin this episode with our top news stories. County Executive Jan Gardner and other community leaders joined the Division of Parks and Recreation to celebrate the completion of the Ballenger Creek Linear Trail. The 4.2-mile ADA-compliant, multi-use trail aligns primarily along Ballenger Creek and connects Ballenger Creek Park to Buckystown Pike. This paved linear trail links several communities to schools, parks, and places of business and entertainment.
We know over the past year, our parks have seen, like parks all across our country, have seen a tremendous number of visitors. And we normally have between 2 and 2.5 million visits to our parks in a year. And we had something like 4.5 million people visit a Frederick County park during this past year with the pandemic. So really, it was a great place for people to go and get some exercise and some respite from being cooped up at home.
Frederick County Division of Parks and Recreation completed a master plan for the trail system in 2000, with completion of the first section by a developer in 2010. The final section, Ballenger Run, marked the end of the project in fall of 2020. People who live or work in Frederick County are asked to share ideas for services or programs that might help them, their families, and their businesses to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner announced the launch of the Love Frederick online survey. Results of the survey will help to determine priority areas for investing $50 million allocated to Frederick County through the Federal American Rescue Plan Act.
The survey gathers some general information about how your household was impacted by the pandemic, and then asks you how you would prioritize the use of these funds, first in broad categories, and then among some specific ideas. Some options include supporting business recovery and workforce development, or perhaps you think emphasis should be placed on addressing mental health issues, or access to childcare may be a priority. So the survey is an opportunity for you to recommend projects or programs for consideration with ARPA funding.
The Love Frederick survey, which is available at frederickcountymd.gov/lovefrederick, will remain open through August 24th. The Frederick County Healthcare Coalition, Frederick County Health Department, and Frederick Health Hospital are asking all Frederick County residents to take a short survey about health issues in our community. This online survey is part of the Community Health Needs Assessment process. The information shared will be used to identify health priorities and focus public and community health planning efforts in Frederick County for the next several years. All county residents are encouraged to take this anonymous 10-minute survey. Now, the survey will be open until August 11, 2021, and is available at frederickhealth.org/CHNA survey. Lake Linganore is around 209 acres in size, and it provides the city of Frederick with drinking water. It also serves as a backup water source for parts of Frederick County, so it is important that Lake Linganore remains healthy. Now, recently, the lake was dredged to remove sediment that was depleting the lake's water capacity. Take a look at this video to find out more about the Lake Linganore dredging project.
Lake Linganore serves as a drinking water source for the city of Frederick and a backup drinking water source for Frederick County. Since its construction in 1972, the lake had been experiencing sedimentation, which resulted in a loss of water storage capacity. A study done by the U.S. Geological Survey indicated that approximately 65% of the water storage volume in the upper reaches of the lake had been lost due to sedimentation. Because this serves as a drinking water source for residents, it is vital to maintain that storage capacity. So the lake had to be dredged in order to restore that capacity. Additionally, Lake Linganore serves as a recreational source for residents of the Lake Linganore Association, and the recreational access was hindered due to the sedimentation in the lake. The upper reaches of the lake, especially during drought conditions, there was very little water. The project actually began in early 2015 with the preparation of an alternatives analysis. The alternatives analysis looked at the most environmentally friendly and cost-effective method to dredge the lake. Then the project progressed through the design, permitting, and implementation phase, and dredging began in late July of 2019. Dredging continued for approximately 2 years, including winter shutdowns in both 2019 and 2020, and the dredging was completed in May of 2021. The project is currently in the demobilization and restoration phase, and that should be complete in fall of 2021.
The material was removed using a dredging barge, and there was an auger that would cut into the sediment, and it would be pumped to a dewatering staging area that was established downstream. There it would be screened and the excess water removed from the sediment. Once that happened, it was loaded onto dump trucks and it was transported to the Rexford Road landfill. It was a significant amount of sediment. It was 150,000 cubic yards of sediment that was removed from the lake. And that's the equivalent of a 7-story building the size of a football field. It would have completely filled that space. The material that was removed from the project was trucked to the Rexford Road sanitary landfill, where it can be used as alternative cover material. And that's important because it can be used for daily operations at the landfill, or ultimately when the landfill is capped, that material is available for use.
The Lake Linganore dredging project was actually the largest lake dredging project in the state of Maryland in recent history. It is also one of the first and largest innovative reuse projects in the state.
It was a $21 million project. It was the city, the county, and the Lake Linganore Association that contributed funding. In 2020, the project received $3 million in grant funding through the Maryland State Department of General Services Capital Grant Project. The project certainly did restore the original storage volume of the lake as it was constructed back in 1972, significantly increasing the volume of water.
The benefits of completing the dredging project are absolutely to restore water volume for the residents of the city of Frederick and Frederick County, to support existing and growing population in the area. In addition, it provides additional recreational opportunities to residents who had limited access to the upper portions of the lake, which were silted in. Wildlife uses and relies on water just as much as humans do. Therefore, the removal of the sediment will benefit the fish and deer and beavers, give them more habitat, and also provide more water for them to use. This project also could serve as a model for other jurisdictions who are experiencing similar issues with sedimentation.
Stay with us. We have plenty more coming up on County Perspective. Welcome back to County Perspective. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa. In just a few moments, we'll take a look at Silver Platter. But first, let's see who our pet of the week is.
Agner is a charming young cat who adores affection. He is happy to be held and cuddled and is quick to jump up onto a lap. This little lover is mostly quiet unless you count all the purring, but will speak up and ask for attention when he wants it. Agner will play with toys on his own, but when given the choice, he prefers petting sessions when it comes to human interaction. Agner is unsettled by loud noises and lots of commotion and would do best in a calm, quiet household with cat-savvy owners. To learn more about Agner and our virtual adoption process, call Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center at 301-600-1546.
Well, I hope you're hungry because we're about to find out what Kitty Devilbiss is cooking in the kitchen in another episode of FCG-TV's Silver Platter.
Who doesn't love meatloaf? It's just one of those iconic menus that we fall back on when we want something really comforting to eat. Today we're going to make turkey meatloaf, which will help reduce the fat that we might have in a beef product, and it's going to be just as tasty. We're going to add to this, we're going to make it a one-pot dish so that we're only cleaning up one pan at the end of the evening. We're going to start out with adding some vegetables to our our pan. We're going to chop an onion up. We're going to use about half of it. So we're going to chop up a little bit and set aside to go into our meatloaf itself. But the rest of it is going to go into, we're just going to roast it to have on the side. We're going to add potatoes and carrots to this dish. These will cook in the pan with the juices. Just big chunks. They don't have to be even. Throwing all of those into a dish. I peeled my potato earlier, and that's why it looks a little bit brown there, because it's been sitting in the air for a little while. Again, just some nice big chunks. No need to measure or be real accurate. This is the fun part, the easy part. We're just going to drizzle those with a little olive oil. I'm going to wear a glove for this because I hate getting my hands real messy. We're just going to toss those vegetables together. From there, we spread them out in our baking dish. This will go in the oven for about 15 minutes at 350 degrees. Spread those out and sort them. Just pop that right into the oven, giving them about 15 minutes head start before we add the meatloaf. You don't have to do that, but it will just help everything come out at the same time, even and cooked. Using the same dish, again, I'm all about saving dishes and the cleanup. We're going to add about a pound of ground turkey. To this, we're going to add some of that onion that we've reserved. We're just going to chop that up. Kind of fine, because you don't want big chunks in the meatloaf. Just going to toss those in there. We're going to add a pinch of pepper. That might be a little much. We'll add just a little bit of salt. Salt brings out the flavors. I'm going to add, this is a prepared product that I like, and it's salt-free, but it's garlic and herbs mixed together, and I just like to add a sprinkle of that to a lot of different foods. We're going to add an egg to this. Actually, we're going to add the egg white. We're going to separate out the yolk. We don't need that yolk for this dish, but you could save that and add it with next time you make scrambled eggs. It would just add some extra color to it. Then we just mix this all together. We're going to add crushed crackers to this. You could use breadcrumbs. Again, just adding some different texture and flavor to the meat. And we keep mixing it. Remember, whenever you're preparing raw poultry, you want to be very careful to make sure that you're keeping those dishes and utensils, as soon as you've used them, you want to make sure you wash them very thoroughly afterwards. We would normally have pulled that dish out of the oven here. We're going to just push our cooked vegetables to the side and pop that meatloaf in the middle. Shape it a little bit. Get it, want it to be the same depth all around, so I'm kind of making this an oval shape to kind of fit my bowl. So before we put it in the oven, I'm going to add some barbecue sauce. It can come straight out of the bottle. If you want to make your own, that's really cool. Spread that over the top. So that's it. It's ready to go into the oven. It'll bake for about 20 minutes or so. The important thing is we want to make sure that it reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees. I think it's really important to use a food thermometer when you're cooking. You want to make sure that the food is done, particularly when you're cooking poultry and meat products. We're going to pop this into the oven, and I'll bring out one that's been cooking for a while so we can take a look at that. So there's our roasted turkey meatloaf with carrots, onions, and potatoes. We can make this a little more special if we like by tossing a little, we're going to use our fingers. This is just a little grated Parmesan. That'll melt over the potatoes and the vegetables, again, just adding to the depth of the flavors. So let's cut a piece of this, get some on the plate, see what that looks like. And there we have turkey meatloaf with potatoes, carrots, and onions. A one-dish meal can be cooked in a toaster oven, serves 1 or 2 people. It's nutritious, it's easy, and it's great leftovers. So you'll get more than one meal out of it. If you would like the recipe for this dish or other recipes, please visit frederickcountymd.gov/senior services.
Looking for something to do in the next few weeks? Well, Frederick County has plenty of activities to keep you busy. Check out some of the great programs that county departments are offering. To find more virtual events and programs, or for more information, log on to the county's webpage, frederickcountymd.gov. Now, at the end of our show, we like to mention a few recent events, along with things our viewers should keep an eye out for in the upcoming weeks. Frederick County government is conducting a survey to determine what homes and businesses in our community need access to fast, reliable broadband services. There are many unserved areas in the county that do not have fast broadband service, and this survey will help locate those areas. Having access to reliable broadband is important for communication, emergencies, education, business transactions, telehealth, doctor appointments, and more. If you'd like to take the survey, visit frederickcountymd.speedsurvey.org. Do you have memories or photos of what life was like for African Americans living in northern Frederick County? If so, we want to hear from you. The Frederick County Division of Planning and Permitting is working with the Catoctin Furnace Historical Society and the African American Resources Cultural and Heritage Society, known as ARCH, to find stories that might otherwise be lost to history. The project is called Recovering Identity, Northern Frederick County Cultural Resource Survey. The goal of the project is to recover information about the people who lived and worked around the Catoctin Furnace and the northern sectors of Frederick County, and to identify building types that have ties to this community. The survey gives people a place to share their ancestors' stories and their history in Frederick County. To submit comments, find stories, and to contribute in the Recovering Identity survey, go to Frederick County Planning and Permitting page at frederickcountymd.gov/planning and permitting, and go to the Historical Preservation tab and click on the Recovering Identity tab. Well, that's it for this episode of County Perspective, but don't forget to follow Frederick County on social media in order to keep up to date on important news and events. We'll see you next time for a fresh look from a county perspective.